Welcome everyone to Two Bishops. Tonight, as you can see, we are three bishops, and we're happy to be with you again. We have a special guest with us here who has been visiting for a few days here in Holy Ecumenical for the Supreme Spiritual Council meetings, which take place twice a year. We have both of our very dear friend, Bishop Armash Nalbandian, who is the primate of the Armenian Diocese of Damascus, Syria. Yes. Obviously, Syria has been in the news a lot, tragically, over the last few weeks and sadly over the last number of years. Yeah, and we both know and have kept in our prayers Armar Surpazan, because over how many years you've been shepherding the people there?
I am already in Damascus more than 21 years.
21 years.
Yeah.
So
since
you've seen peace in Syria.
Yes.
You've seen wars,
and then economic crisis, and then the collapse of regime, and the new challenges that we are going through.
And no one really knows what's happening.
Yes.
We want to talk about that in a second. I was very fortunate. First of all, I've known you for. I remember when you were 14 years old. The first time I came to Armenia, I was 22, something like that. And Armar Surpazan, formerly Little Hagop. Yes. I'm sorry if I said Hagopig.
No, I was Hagop and I was little.
everyone called you Hagopig. You were half this height.
Yes.
And you were the youngest student here.
Yes.
And there were only 20, maybe seminarians here at that time. In any case, I never got to talk to you then, but everyone knew you, and really a deacon that all the students looked up to, and things have only gotten better since then as our friendship has also grown over the years. And but I had a great opportunity a number of years ago, right before the war started, to visit Syria for a summer, and I was able to spend 10 days there and to visit. What I learned and came to see really is very much the Holy Land. When we think of the Holy Land, I used to think of Israel, Jerusalem, Bethlehem, and the Dead Sea, and that's about it. When I was in Damascus, and especially in our church in Damascus, I realized things that I had read in the Bible long ago suddenly came to life. I was seeing things that I had read in the Acts of the Apostles, for example. So maybe, Surpazan, you can talk about the Holy Land of Damascus.
Well, of course, we'd like to hear Surpazan, but very briefly, it's a very, very old city, of course. It's mentioned in the Old Testament. It goes back all the way to the book of Genesis, when Abraham was pursuing the enemies who have kidnapped his nephew, Lot. He pursued them all the way to the north of Damascus. It's mentioned, north of Damascus. And then David, when he built his kingdom, he used Damascus as a military center, garrison, where he put his military equipments and soldiers there. And then it was occupied and taken out of the empire. It became part of the capital of an independent country, and then finally fell under the Romans. But of course, its call to fame is in the New Testament, where the Apostle Paul. And I understand, I don't know, but the Armenian Diocese Church is on the straight street.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, so that's
what is straight street? Remind our people.
The straight street actually is mentioned in the Bible. That's where the Apostle Paul escaped. When he was. And that's also on that street. Near that street is the house of Ananias, or at least the house where Ananias went to heal Paul. And these are very, sacred shrines that are mentioned in the. So this, in a nutshell, this is what we know from the Bible about this holy city.
So now I can say it, but you tell us where the Armenian Church Cathedral is located in relation to that one address out of the Bible, which is straight street, and the wall that St. Paul climbed over to escape persecution.
So I have to say that, first of all, I'm very honored to be with you in between two bishops. And so being the primate of the Armenian Diocese in Damascus, it's so huge honor for me, because Damascus is the oldest capital city in the world. It was a state capital, and then till today is a capital. But as you said, the history, traditional Christianity started with the visit of Saul, who became St. Paul. And as you mentioned, in the New Testament, in the Acts, Paul said, entered the city and we went through straight street. alone, and this street, at the end of the street was the house, or the let me say the chapel where the Christians used to gather and pray. And he went to Hananiah and get healed his eyes. And then became Christian, let's say. And our church, St. Sarkis, Subsarkis, Armenian church, the diocesan church, is so close at the end of the street, so it's not far, it's maybe 50 meters. Yes, that's why the tradition of the Christianity is so huge in Syria. And we, as, let's say, as Damascus people, Christians, we say, if the Bethlehem, the birthplace of Jesus Christ, Damascus is the birthplace of the Christianity, because St. Paul started preaching from Damascus. And to carry all this tradition on our shoulders and to practice this is so huge honor, but also so huge responsibility. Mountains along Damascus, we have many holy places like Setnaya, like Ma'lula. And Ma'lula is very important because in this region there is still 3 villages. The people still speaking the dialect language of Aramaic, that language that Jesus Christ used to speak and talk. Still today, when you visit this Ma'lula and these churches, the village people, they will pray with you, Our Father, Haymer, in the Aramaic language. This is so beautiful.
The way
so
Jesus
touching.
taught the people in those very words.
And it's so touching that you are so connected to the roots of the Bible and the language or the dialect that Jesus used to talk.
Tell us.
Syria and Damascus is a very prosperous land, and the last decades, starting 2011, we had very bloody conflict, and many casualties and many victims, and after the war then started the economic crisis and the people were suffering a lot. And now, let's say 3 months ago, there was a huge change after collapse of Assad regime, that we have now new administration which is trying to do its best, but the problem is we as Syrians, but also as Christians, we were very happy because we experienced the collapse of regime, but also we are happy, but now we are in a huge concern regarding the future, what's coming up. And you know, everyone is maybe thinking what we will do as a Christians. We as churches in Syria, we say we know that we need time. But with this new administration, we say you need time, we understand it, we will be patient, but when we see something that is going in the wrong direction, we will be very vocal and very loud to demand our rights and to demand the rights of every Syrians. And in this all rights, let's say, we will keep also our rights and our freedom to practice our faith and traditions and our language. And I have to say that in Syria we have very special or very unique ecumenical, so interchurch relation, because I have to say that in Syria we have 17 denominations, and 9 of them are Christian denominations, like Armenian Orthodox, Armenian Protestant, Armenian Orthodox, Syriac Orthodox, Syriac Catholic, etc., etc. And we have also primates, so dioceses, but also we are very honored to have the residence of the head of 3 churches, which is the Syriac Orthodox, Rome or Greek Orthodox, and Greek Catholic churches.
So the heads, it's like our Catholicos.
Yes,
the heads of those churches have their see, their holy see in Damascus.
In Damascus.
Yeah.
And that's why we have very vivid and very healthy and beautiful interreligion relationship, but also ecumenical relations among the churches, that we live together, we work together. And even in the time of crisis, in time of war, we created an emergency committee to help the people, and that was very comforting for the people, that the people, even in this crisis, they saw that the churches are working together for people. That, and our ideology or our aim was that if we have strong churches, then the people will feel safe and stability in Syria. And still today, of course, many Syrians but also many Christians left the country, but even today we do our best to help the Syrians but also Christians. And I have to say that during the time of war, 15 years, but crisis, we continued to give our services, to be very active in our missions, in our churches with services every Friday and Sunday, and Bible studies, and choir, and cultural events, and but also with the youth, of course, but also helping the people, and with difficulties to let open the doors of our schools to have our children, to teach them Armenian, to teach them catechism, Armenian religion, Groni Taser, and it is still today that we live in Syria, and we could with this survive or face all the challenges and overcome them.
So Fazan, in a final minute or two,
Yes.
can you say a few words about the Armenian community, the history, how it started, and then how did these things affect as far as number-wise? I'm sure many are leaving now. So can you give us like a very brief historical?
Yes, Sapazan, there's the impression that the Armenians, and even among the Syrians, that the Armenians are new in Syria after the genocide. Let's say after 1915, 20s. No, the presence of Armenians goes back to the 1st century, from the time of Dikran Med, Dikran the Great.
That's true.
But also after the Christianity, from the 4th century, we have our presence in Damascus and in Syria too. And this region was under the jurisdiction of Patriarchate of Jerusalem, Yerushalmi Patriarchate. And the Patriarchate had established centers or places like rest places, like Caravan Sarai, for the Armenian pilgrims coming from the northern Armenia and going to the holy places.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that has a long history.
Yes, and that's why from the beginning we had a small chapel maybe with some stable and accommodation facilities for the pilgrims, and that Archimandrite or Haishuk or Vartabet from Jerusalem taking care of these pilgrims. And for me it is very touching that the Armenians in Damascus, they dedicated the church to Saint Sarkis, Subsarkis, because they didn't want have only a saint that is good for Parechosil, to intercede, but they wanted to have a saint who is also military man to protect fighter to protect them from because the caravans, they're coming and protect them from the attacks of robberies, etc., etc. And that's why till today Damascus is the church of Saint Sarkis. When you face the altar, you will see the you will see Sub Astvadzadin, Maria. On the both sides is Subsarkis and Subvartan, who protect us, and maybe it is the protection that we survive, because everyone started to talk about the solution, or to find the solution in Syria. Small and huge powers in the world, in the politics, maybe to have solution with weapon, with this and that. But what I experienced in this time, that the prayer is the most powerful weapon. And that's why prayer kept us to survive all these casualties and to overcome the challenges. This is very important.
We pray for you too.
Thank you very much.
We have been all the
Yes,
time. We
yes.
pray for you here in this cathedral.
Yes, amen.
And please bring our greetings, our prayers, our love to your people. You're an inspiration, Sir Pazania. You always
Thank
have
you
been to
very
me.
much. Thank you very much.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, may we also ask our faithful
To-
to remember Sir Pazan and our brothers and sisters in Syria, as it continues to be an unknown
Yes.
situation, for the Lord to bring the peace to our people and to the people of Damascus, of whatever religion they are, so that historic city may continue to thrive and we may hear good news from our Sir Pazan.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sir Pazan. I know you're very busy. And you're traveling tomorrow back to Damascus.
Yes.
May the Lord be with you. Safe trip,
Thank you
and you
very
remain
much.
in our hearts and prayers. Sir Pazan.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.